So I'm going to start my presentation, you guys, and I'm going to start it with, I'm really not a big fan of PowerPoints. Now, it goes back to 30 years at Albertsons Supermarkets. I started at Albertsons Supermarkets in 1977. So 30, I evolved through running stores, managing stores, and then I started as a bagger for a couple of years and night crew for 5 years, managing stores. Got drafted into corporate headquarters where I was responsible for PowerPoints for 10, 12 years for all the buyers. So every quarter end and annual presentations to headquarters, Salt Lake City, we had to produce PowerPoints, and I was doing PowerPoints, and I got my fill of them. So now I get to delegate that to Sue, and I make Sue do the PowerPoints so I don't have to. So PowerPoints, not a big fan. I'd rather just ad lib and do a song and dance in front of people instead of doing PowerPoints. But I had Sue do one today. So we'll have to applaud Sue for this PowerPoint that she did. She pulled it out in a couple days too. Not bad. So we have some pictures to show you on the PowerPoint. But first, my wife and I started this business in 1998 or so as a secondary career for me. And she and I were making some money on the side. I was still full-time at Albertsons. And I'd take my weekends and the holidays and any days off after work, and I would be dismantling kitchen cabinets for her, doors, hauling them in our family van, bringing them to our home. She would paint them. She'd go and paint the frames, and I would come back after they're done, and I'd reassemble kitchen cabinets for her. We did kitchen cabinets for like 5 years. That's all we did. Entertainment centers, curios, furniture. We had contracts with the schools where the high school cheerleaders needed to have their stools painted for their presentations, and we'd do the school emblems on the school the benches, little stools that they used for their dance routines, and we do furniture. So we did that till right around when we got licensed in 2007. So it'd been licensed in 2007. And I realized on the license, and studying for the license, this license is for everything. I mean, literally painting anything. Interiors, exteriors, commercial, residential. We could paint anything. So I exclaimed to my wife, let's just start hiring guys and start painting. And that's how that evolved. So evolved with some background in hiring and terminations and running stores, running P&Ls, running general ledger. I literally took all that experience and transitioned it into a painting operation. And still today I use the same documents that I used at Albertsons in my corporate environment, the P&Ls and the general ledger and so forth, with painting. And I just populated different categories in painting instead of beans, canned goods, and best food mayonnaise and milk. It's now kitchen cabinets, walls, ceilings, and baseboards. So, but it's the same documents that I hijacked from Albertsons. So it's pretty interesting. It's fun to delve, and that is my forte is the admin side. So I do a lot of office work and managing the business from the documents. I can run the business with 5 documents. You know, your labor sheet, your P&L, general ledger, your labor sheet, your inventory. I can run the business just from those 5 documents. And so it's a great experience to take into running your own business, and that's where I got my background. So then evolved, but then we got licensed and started painting houses. So I talk a lot about the school that we did. This was our first large scale project. It was about a $150,000 project, largest we've ever done. St. Paul's is located behind the Walmart in Orange, where the village center is. It's Heim at Tustin, and back there's a two property location. There's 20 buildings total, including a giant gymnasium and all their classroom buildings, and that is their student body building right there. And that's the old way it looked. And this thing right here is their old logo. That's bigger than it looks there. I got the scissor lift up there, and my guy George started to remove it. And he goes, I can't remove this by myself. This is way too big. And I got up there with him. he and I started removing it, cutting it, and it's in the last bolt. I'm going, hold on, be careful. The thing is 1.5 inches thick, plywood, thick wood, and it was bolted on, and it came down right on top of the scissor lift railing, and we brought it down that way. And now, there's the new look for the school across all the buildings. I mean, all the buildings are down. They run down the edge of the property, and then across the street there's the big chapel and a fellowship hall and preschool building, outbuildings, and so forth. This whole project was a great. And we'd love another referral from anyone you might know that happens to be a maintenance person for a private school or a church. Anything. So if you are friends or acquaintances with a maintenance person or a connection, like maybe a member of your congregation that knows the name of a maintenance person for their church, that's our ideal referral for us. I'd love a personal handshake and introduction with that person, whoever it might be, and they would be pleased as heck to get an introduction to us as well, because we're just another feather in their cap, another vendor that they have and use as a resource for them too. So it's really it goes both ways. It's this referral, if you know a person at church, that would be great for them as well as a great referral for us too. So we do commercial work. We love exterior tilt-up construction. We will. This one is in the city of Vista, and it's multiple tones. You can do 2-3 tones is often a common practice for exterior tilt-ups. We love this kind of work, and if you know anyone who's a facilities manager for commercial properties, usually it's plural, they usually have run multiple properties, we'd love that introduction also. That's a great referral for us. And this is the afters. I didn't get befores. Paul and I were just talking. We always forget to get the before pictures, right? It's darn, we didn't get befores. Yeah. So you go to the internet, try to scrape a picture off the internet to try to get the before picture. So this was the 4th floor of the Broadcom building on Bake Parkway. So if you exit, go ahead and towards Irvine, 5 freeway, exit Bake, turn left. There's a 4-story building that's kind of curved like this, and it's the Broadcom building primarily, but the 4th floor belongs to this company, ASP, and we painted the entire floor to match their company colors, and we employed a third-party company to do the graphics on top of our paint job. So this was, we do interior commercial work all the time, real estate offices, legal offices. We've done all for quite a few years. We've done all the painting for superlawyer.superwoman.com. That's Averick Law. That's located right here on Bristol. I think some of us might have done work there too. It's a great law firm. You might have heard her seen her billboards. Superwoman, superlawyer.com. She's quite popular out there for that logo, because of that logo. This is one of our most recent ones. We just got completed with 79 Ocean Vista. Paul, thank you for that referral. Great project. I have a bunch more pictures. I'll put them on the Dropbox. We'll have those available to everybody. It shows very well in photographs. It's a great project. 79 Ocean Vista was a referral from Paul, and we just finished. I think she's moving in. Is she moving in this week? Today. That's great. Yeah, she's moving in today. So this is 31 Bellflora. It is also a referral from Paul. Through Joanna. Okay, got it. And I'll tell you what, this turned out spectacular. I was just there doing a little bit of cleanup, and I was so impressed. Kelly and I were going around taking pics. We took these pictures on that day, just last week. The beautiful colors in the formal dining. These 2 wall units built by Peter. Thank you, Peter. Great, beautiful. It turned out beautiful. And they show really well, and it's so elegant. My guy Julio did the staining work and the varnish top coats on these 2 units, but we painted everything. Walls, ceilings, baseboards, new pillars that Peter installed. Great project. We did not do this.
Aaron? You guys did the molding in that middle one too?
All the molding, yes.
And the one on the right, okay.
But not here. Here, molding, but we did not finish the stairwell. The components of the stairwell were left as they were in the beginning. But we do finishing for stairways. But in this case, it was excluded. Ceilings, tall ceilings, scaffolding, the whole works. Okay, this was in Big Bear in the middle of the height of the pandemic. So we actually, just to stay busy, me and a helper went all the way to Big Bear. I stacked ladders, 6 ladders high on top of the cab of my pickup truck and hiked up to Big Bear. And the job was, okay, that's 2 stories, 3 stories. It was over 3 stories high to get to this peak of this chimney there. And that's me in the bucket. So had to rent the lift from there, and that's the last, probably, I hope, the last time I'll ever have to
jump in a bucket.
Yeah, I did not. I was reluctant to even do this one, but I had to. I had to lay off everybody during the pandemic. There was no employees, so I had to finish this job myself. So the really hard part was getting out of the bucket, right there. I was tethered, but being back there and getting the backside of this chimney, because it's steep. That's a steep roof pitch, and I had to paint the backside of the chimney, and the bucket wouldn't reach all the way around to the back. So I had to open the gate, get out on the roof, backwards, scooch over, and paint that thing and get back under the bucket. I wouldn't ask any of my employees to do that. So. My workers' comp.
Right.
Okay, so we do drywall repair all the time. I've got great guys that do great work matching. AJ, anytime you have a flood cut, that you can imagine this kind of thing, but all the way around the entire house, right? 2 feet from the ground or so, all the way around the house. It's called a flood cut. They'll dry it out, and we come in after it's been certified for dryness. We can't do any work until that's accomplished. But once that's done and it's certified as remediated, then we can come in and do all the repairs, baseboard installation included. And it's a project we would love to get. Any project like that where there's been a flood is a great referral for us. So keep that in mind. Before the work, there was holes everywhere. Mirror taken off, patched on the ceiling, and this is the after. So you got a before and an after. Believe it or not, that's the same wall. So that's the kind of work we can do. That's before and after. Also around piping. So any of your interior drywall repair work we can do, no matter how big. Small jobs too. So we'll go in. If that hole existed in a laundry room, we would be glad to come down and take care of that for your customers. We do have a minimum charge. Our minimum, so you guys know, for your clients is $490. So usually all that covers is the cost of a guy for a day, a gallon or 2 of paint, and material, and a little bit for overhead. There's hardly anything in it at $490, but that is our minimum. So that's a good point of reference for you guys to have in the back of your mind for little jobs. So let's see, behind cabinet patchwork, same thing. Cabinets are enclosed with melamine. We can cut, and we can actually we'll take an entire piece and mount it to the back so that patch is hidden and it's seamless and doesn't look like there's a patch been there before. So that's inside of a cabinet. Exterior stucco repair and wood replacement. We'll do that. And now that's not what we don't do, is entire stuccoing of homes, right? That's a whole nother trade. So those stucco guys come equipped with giant pumps, and they'll take care of all that. They'll do the exterior faux finish, the smooth stucco finish. We don't do that if it's a whole house. We do repair work, and we'll blend it and match it as best as we can. And we work behind Johnny Bryant all the time with electrical panel patch arounds, and those include a pricing for whether it's needed to be permitted or not. And if it's permitted, it's a two dispatch. We have to dispatch twice, once to show the lath and paper and the ceiling around, and then they want to come look at it, permit it, get it signed off. Then we can come in and close it with a stucco match around the panel. So this is an example of our work before and after. So let's see, I think this job was for Pierre Charles, that we do garage floor epoxies. And this is Matt, look and notice the epoxy can go, it's additional charge of course, but the epoxy can go up the footing. So it goes up the footing and covers the whole floor and footing both. And this we painted, there's storage rooms we painted the stairway inside the house, but this is a freshly just completed garage floor epoxy, your standard sparse distribution flakes. There's also dense distribution flakes, which they piled high, and you sweep them off, and it's a lot more flakes than this. But this is a sparse distribution, which is more common.
Aaron, will you do floor prep before that?
Yeah, in fact, this one was close to the beach. We had to prep it for moisture. Okay. There's a moisture barrier that has to go down prior in these cases. Yes, we'll do floor prep. Often it requires grinding. So people, what the heck? Why is it $3,000 to paint a garage floor? Well, it can be more. It could be $4,000. It all depends on that big old grease stain on the middle of your floor. It won't come up, right? It has to be dealt with before we can lay down epoxy and primers and sealers and so forth. So we have to diamond tip grind that stuff sometimes. So the grind, those are walk behind grinders that you grind the floor, and it takes a little bit of a layer off before you can apply your epoxy. Yes, the answer is yes. Okay, so here's a little bit. So we'll do this scope of work just to show you. Oh, we can do that much drywall, not a problem. But if it was the whole room, probably not. Okay, then I would pass on it. I would refer to you to a drywall guy, right? But this size we can do, and this is the after for the project. Seamless. They were extremely happy. And then before and after on a standard Anaheim Hills exterior. Notice, the transition is incredible when you choose paint colors that stand out and stand your house apart from the others. It's a great example of our stucco work. And then I think that's the last slide. Yeah, that's it. As far as handyman work, we don't do roofing, we don't do plumbing, we don't do electrical work, but like repairing a gate, repairing a fence, building a small section of fence, we can do that. We can replace a door to a garage, side door to a garage, things like that. So your honeydew stuff, we're pretty good handymen at the little stuff as well. So if you need handyman work while we're painting, and we can take care of all that for you too at a great value, because if we're there already, that's big chunk of your cost is deploying the people to your location. Once we're there already, it's pretty good value to take care of some other honeydews around the house while we're there. So handyman work, yes. And do you have any questions?
Yeah, do you install like gates? I know you repair fences, but do you install gates?
Is it previously?
Close a porch?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. If there was one there already and we replace it with another one, yes.
All right.
Yes, but to build one from scratch, probably not. Okay. It's more like a built as is, as it was, okay. So we can imitate what's already there with a new one. Yep. It's same with garage doors. People say, I want a new garage side entry garage door, but I want fiberglass and I want a hard. But mainly those are usually hollow core, and so we'll just replace it with what it was there already. If you want to upgrade, we probably need to call a door company. Anything else?
Do you do like patio staining, like concrete staining?
Concrete staining, yes, we do. That's something we'll do. If it's driveway staining, I'm not recommending that. No matter what contractor you use, could be the 50-year contractor experience, and I still don't recommend staining a driveway with cars going up and down on all the time. It just doesn't. There's just no longevity to it, even if it's done as well as you can do it. The staining of driveways, although it was real popular for a long time, I'm not recommending those anymore to be done. Although we'll do it if you want, but no warranty on them.
What about like rain gutters and stuff like that on the exterior?
We'll paint them, yes. We paint them frequently, and a lot of times previous painting of rain gutters were not primed properly, and they flake. They come apart pretty often. Often I see them coming apart, and so we have to take those down and prime them with a metal primer and paint those, and then they last pretty good after that. But yes, we'll paint downspouts and gutters.
Yeah, following your story through BTN and some of the testimonials I've heard you given, it was interesting to watch your company go through the pandemic, right? You went kind of from feast to famine, and as we were in this room, it was kind of interesting to see you go through that. You and a helper went up to Big Bear to try and save your business, and now it's cool to see that you're kind of back to prosperity. Be interesting for you to tell a little bit about that story, and then I'm curious how you hired people back after having to lay all those people off. Were you able to hire back the same people, or was there a new crew?
Yeah, so it was a shock. So that story, I'll briefly. I don't know how much time we have. Okay, so briefly, pandemic hit us like everybody, and it was an announcement on a Thursday night when Governor Newsom announced it's going to be safer to stay at home. 2 weeks to bend the curve. Remember all that language, right? 2 weeks to bend the curve. So that night was a Thursday night. It was just after St. Patrick's Day, if I recall correctly. On a Thursday night. The next morning, I was running about $20,000 a week in sales at that time. So 20 grand a week in sales, and I got a phone call Friday morning, 2 calls, canceling all the work for the following week. We were in interiors. So the customers were thinking, like everybody, panic mode. We were all in panic mode, right? That let's not have anybody in our house. Oh my goodness, So that just went from $20,000 in sales for that week to zero, and in like with 2, I think it was 3 phone calls on a Friday morning, and I go, wow, there's no work next week, you guys. So Friday, I'm busy on the phone calling the guys, letting them know just stay home next week. So that happened. Then I'm reassuring. I'm saying let's just give it a couple of weeks, and we'll be back at it. So a week turned to 2 weeks, and I'm calling my guys, and it's 3 weeks turned to 5 weeks, and 6 weeks, still no work. So I had these jobs going. The Broadcom building was one of them, and the Big Bear job was another that was going on, and I had to pay rent. So and my insurance bills were due, and so the bills kept coming, but the sales revenue was zero for 6-8 weeks. So about that time, I had told everybody to stay home. There were no really layoffs. It was just, we're just sitting at home. And no formal layoffs. It was a practical layoff, but it wasn't really formalized. It was just, we don't have any work. So everybody's sitting at home. So I got no revenue coming in. So I said, I've got to finish these jobs. So we finished an autism center. We finished the Broadcom building, and we finished that Big Bear project with me and a helper. So in order to pay the bills and get those jobs out behind me. So then that whole thing lasted about, I'd say, from the St. Patrick's Day week, March, all the way through till September. I was on that rooftop in Big Bear when my phone started ringing. It was in September. So right around the beginning of September, the phone just kept ringing nonstop in my pocket. And I'm going, I got to get off this roof and answer these phone calls. So I'm getting down, I'm trying to return calls, and it's a rapid fire 10, 12, 15 phone calls of people needing work done. It's like someone threw the switch. They got, I don't know if they got fed up or what with the lockdowns or what have you, but people were backed up with paint work.
Right.
So the first thing we did, get back done with that Big Bear job. I'll get a hold of you as soon as I get down off the hill. Got down up the hill, called a dentist office, did a dentist office right away, and then had to hire everyone back. Got about 50% of my guys back. The others, one guy went to Florida, another guy went to Mexico, another guy, they had work with their family, so they lost them. So out of 12 guys, I got about 5 or 6 still that are working with me from before the pandemic, but lost half of them. Yeah. So that answers your question.
Yeah. How hard is it to hire a really good painter? Somebody that you could send to a job.
A really good painter is really hard to hire. Yeah. Yeah, all the artists are gone, you guys. I mean, when I started in late 90s, there was so much pride in the trade. You had groups of Norwegians. They were painters, and I run into them on job sites and in the neighborhoods we were working in. We knew each other, shake hands and share and trade work, and they were Norwegian. They were all like Swedish or something, and then there was groups, the Koreans, and there was there was artists, Caucasian groups that were artists, and they would spend their time and energy and effort in making a perfect mural or a perfect project and detail out, remove all the hardware from the exterior of the house before you paint, remove the lamps, and reinstall them when you're done, and all that went away. There are no artists in this trade anymore. It's only got the artists have all retired or passed away, and there are no more. The new ones don't have the skill set. The art in painting it just evolved out of the system, and so to find someone who is an artist like Memo, to find someone like a Julio who can do the artwork is really difficult to find. And then training them is even harder. It's like a 4-year college process in art school to teach these guys the detail and have the mentality for the detail. So yeah, difficult to find quality painters. Now they're all wanting to get in and out and get the job done and get out. And really, it's a result of the economy. In 07, 08, the banking crisis happened then. Recall that?
Yeah.
That was a big hit to the economy, right? Well, the demand for the price point for that artwork went down. Nobody wanted to pay for that skill set. $50 an hour for an artist went away. No one wanted to pay that. So as a customer base, the economy, your client base stopped desiring that kind of work. Even faux finishes went away. So I barely do faux finish job maybe once a year now. I used to, back then, I had a full-time faux finisher. That's all they did was faux finish work. But it's gone now. There's very little demand for faux finishes any longer. It's good, simpler. It's everything's even your shaker style kitchen cabinet doors that we put in 79 Ocean Vista. It's a simpler look. The baseboards are straight instead of curved. The color palette is 1 or 2 colors max instead of 5 or 6 colors with accent walls here in every room. None of that is happening anymore because of cost. The economy drove that out of the system. So now it's maybe you might see it come back in some places, but in your higher end clients, but it's just not there as a bulk. It's not there like it was. So yes, to answer your question, it's difficult to hire painters. All right, you guys, that's my time. One more question?
No, I was just gonna make a comment. So when I saw that electrical panel and stucco, looked very familiar, by the way, almost like Huntington Beach, but
Same here.
just saying. Anyway, I did have that type of work done. So Johnny's guys came in and replaced my panel, and Aaron came back and did the patchwork and all that in the rainy season. In the rainiest season that we've had in how many years? 15, 20.
Yeah.
So it had to be Viz-queened and, had to have some inspections. We had cranky Huntington Beach inspectors and all that stuff, but these guys did a good job, and I have electricity today, by the way, and I have good stucco around there, so just giving you an endorsement.
Thank you. Go ahead.
Well, one comment also, and this is something that we talked about. You helped at Ocean Vista with construction cleanup. And at the end of the job, it's the painter that comes in at the very end And to offer that, I want to encourage you to go after it. I will always use that. So you made me look good out there. Thank you for that. But construction cleanup after a project, develop that.
And that means the cleanup is all trades. So,
All trades.
Yeah, not just clean up the painting work, which
Right.
we would do anyway. We always work clean. But then to have the service to come and get everything else cleared from all the other trades combined, and then sweep up and clean up and get ready for the detailed housekeepers.
Right, and the housekeepers came through and they put they did the final dusting and the polish. But to get to that point, the housekeepers would have been overwhelmed. And you helped me get there.
Right. Those housekeepers could not have accomplished that.
No.
Yeah, so it took 2 dump load trucks or pickup truck bedfuls and 2 or 3 dumpsters to get rid of and get 79 Ocean Vista ready for the housekeepers. And
I would like to add to that. When I'm putting cabinets in, the quality of my woodworking is on the top, but when I put them in, I put everything in unfinished. So it just looks like a raw piece of wood. It doesn't look like a fine piece of furniture yet. And Aaron's guys can come in, touch up that, do the right kind of staining. The stain on that job that Joanna designed is beautiful. It's layered. You see multicolors coming through. And when I put it in, it's just a board. It's not a tray. There's no depth to it. And what you do, you put the finishing touch on it and makes it look.
there
like
are
a
5 tones on that, 5 different stain tones on
You
that.
can see them. You can see them all come through.
And the first one was a yellow, the sienna, because we had to tie it into some existing stuff. So it was in order to achieve her target.
Well, that's what when
had
you're
to-
working with Joanna, there are steps, and she knows every one of them.
Yeah.
Let's
yeah.
do this. Let's
So
do
you
this.
did
Let's do this.
5 different colors of stain
5 different tones of stain. Yeah.
mixed
One on
together.
top.
No,
On top of each
One
other,
on top.
drying with dry times in between.
and then rubbed off. Some rubbed off.
With dry times in between. Yeah.
How pricey is that?
Pretty pricey.
More than my cabinet cost.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Well, if you think it's actually a lot more work than putting it in. It's like it took.
It's a 5-time job.
Yeah. Yeah.
5 jobs.
Yeah. Yeah. And the last thing, if I may, you mentioned rain, rainy season. You'd be surprised at how little painting is affected by moisture and rain. Because, I mean, even exteriors especially. So you think in terms of what do we do on day 1 when we're painting an exterior?
Power wash.
We power wash it. So rain doesn't affect that at all, right? And then the next thing we do is stucco patching. You have to moisten the surface before you stucco patch anyway. So moisture doesn't affect that. The moisture will affect us, and we might have to pull off the job if it's raining right at the point in time you are ready to tape up windows and start spraying. Now we're impacted, but we can come right away as soon as it's dry, and it dries out quick in California. And we can start work again right away. So rain doesn't really affect us too much. A lot of work is done under eaves, so you'd be surprised how little rain stops us. We just keep going, and I get that question from my counterparts and my competitors in other states. I have a buddy in South Carolina. He says, yeah, we paint all year too. It's snow, then we won't paint. Okay, that's it.
There you go.